What's up, YouTube? Capital G here. Got a pretty meme-worthy duel for you guys to check out. We're back on Dueling Book. I've got a lot of Dueling Book submissions as of late, and a lot of them are actually pretty damn funny and entertaining. So I'm like, what the hell? I'll just go ahead and throw them up on the channel. This one is going to be incredibly crazy because it's essentially going to use a super obscure card to kind of seal a duel that probably shouldn't have actually been won, but it's going to be a card that essentially you get wrong or backfires, but it's gonna backfire in a good way, and it's actually going to work out in the end. So let's go ahead and roll this. We got Skull Servants at the bottom, and then we have World Chalice at the top. There's not going to be any link spamming or any of that type of BS or hand traps or any of that nonsense in this duel. Everything is just going to be, you know, kind of basic, back and forth, all that good stuff. So I believe that World Chalice opened up with Lee, searched a copy of what's her name, Ib, before she was like Ib, and I think he just actually passed off that. So this specific build of Skull Servants is actually running Raiden and Lightsworn cards because, I mean, I guess without, like, if you don't know, Skull Servants used to actually be pretty decent when Grass was at 3 because you could play 60 card Skull Servants, and some of them actually topped regionals, by the way, because if you get this card on the field and you have a whole bunch of, like, you know, white princes. Well, no, he's the only one that, like, isn't Skull Servant, I believe. But if you get, like, you know, Lady in White and a whole bunch of Skull Servants and Kings in your graveyard, this card gets 1,000 attack for each. And basically, you can just crank him up to, like, 10 counters. And you can one-shot your opponent with him being, like, 10,000 attack. So people used to use it with Grass back in the day, load up their graveyard. You see one King of the Skull Servants already in the graveyard. So if he does summon this one, that's 1,000 attack. So he just has to keep adding monsters to his grave. Milling during the end phase gets Lady in White. That's 2,000 attack that he now has if he summons. Mduck's going to be tribute set, which is interesting. He's going to use Raiden's effect. Mills 2 more, gets a Mizuki. Hey, that's not bad. Mizuki can summon King of the Skull Servants, and I believe he got jebaited there, right? He ends up using Regeki on World Chalice World Legacy. Unfortunately, this card actually floats, so he's able to just get 2 more monsters on the field, and they're actually bigger than both of his Raiden, so it's not really looking good. He has to basically waste his turn and waste his Regeki, and you don't want to do that. His mills also didn't really get him much, you know, any like good cards, and I believe we might see our first Nightmare here, but it's not going to be like an extra link spam or any of that nonsense. I think it's just going to be a Nightmare Phoenix to get rid of that Mirror Force, and that was his one defensive card, so now he actually might lose both of his Raidens in battle, so this could actually end up really, really poorly for him, and that exactly is what's going to happen. So he loses both copies of Raiden. Now I think at this point he's probably just forced to like summon his King of the Skull Servants. Maybe he drew a regular Skull Servant and he just summons his White Prince and he's going to attack. Now when this card gets into the graveyard, you can actually send a Skull Servant and a Lady in White to the grave, so basically you're adding 2,000 damage to your graveyard, which I think that's what his plan was. Unfortunately, this guy has 0 attack, so you will take a bunch of damage, and he does take 2,200. His opponent, this is next level, by the way, his opponent is going to Ash Blossom in the damage step. Low tier for life, boys. I love it. This is the new version of Ash Blossom, people. See, people kept memeing the super rare version of Ash Blossom, but the super rare version allows you to use Ash during the damage step. This is next level Yu-Gi-Oh! That's not a legal play, by the way. Yes, it is. Anyways, he's going to tribute set again. He's going to attack with the Nightmare Unicorn. And now it's looking really bad because he did summon and he looks like he wanted to attack there, but his King of the Skull Servants was actually hit with, it was hit with the copy of Impermanence, and then he actually had his graveyard kind of wrecked by Called by the Grave. And this is basically where the duel is about to get real. He is going to attack into the King of the Skull Servants, and that's when his opponent tries to, or he doesn't try, he's actually going to actively troll and flip over Fiend Comedian. Now I think that this is a troll card, and it's a really interesting card, right? Basically, you flip a coin. If you call it right, you banish your opponent's entire graveyard. So all 15 of these cards would be banished, which, I mean, it's not bad. It's like a DD Crow on crack at that point. But if you call it wrong, what happens is you mill from the top of your deck the same amount of cards that are in your opponent's graveyard, which actually is the beneficial effect of this card right now. Who cares about your opponent's graveyard if you can mill a whole bunch of Skull Servants once your opponent has already declared an attack? This guy's attack can just skyrocket. So let's see what he's going to do. he tells him that, it's 3,000 attack right now, and this, it's kind of hinges off this play. He calls heads. I believe he's going to flip a coin momentarily, and it is actually tails. So basically he got it wrong, but him getting it wrong is exactly what he wants to get, because now he gets to mill all those Skull Servant monsters to the graveyard. Milling the White Princess means he gets to take Skull Servants from his deck and put those in his graveyard as well. He also is going to get a wolf on the field for free, which technically would summon during the end of the milling, but his opponent says, fuck this, I feel like I got cheated. And he's actually just going to scoop, as this thing got 10 counters on it, and basically it just gained 7,000 attack. And there would technically be a replay here. I just realized that since you're summoning the wolf, there would technically be a replay. I guess he could attack over the wolf, but it was inconsequential. Like, he can't put a link monster in defense mode, so he knows during his opponent's turn this King of the Skull Servants is going to kill him. Not to mention, he had a second copy of King of the Skull Servants as well. And I think on top of that, didn't he have a Mizuki? Yeah, he has a Mizuki in his grave as well. So if he has a Mizuki, he can probably dig out the third copy. Is there a third copy of King of the Skull Servants somewhere in this graveyard? I feel like there probably is. Yeah, it is. Okay, so there's a third copy. So he would have been able to have 3 copies of King of the Skull Servants. He would have lost 1,000 attack, but honestly, he would have gained so much more damage on board. It would have been like kind of irrelevant, and you would have taken the 1,000 attack loss for more damage on board, even though it was already GG no re at that point anyway. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this little Saki duel. If you did, give the video a thumbs up. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.